Welcome to the Once Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast with your hosts, Josh Kimmel, Dave Campbell, and Justin Bowerly.
Upon a Sunday Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, and I hope you had a great week one. I know I didn't. I know week one was miserable for most people, but it's okay. See the new background? That's where I'm living these days, in the dark forest. Depression, anxiety, losing. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about waivers, waiver wire priorities, and some news. We have our co-host, Justin Bowerly, so let's get him in here. He was here co-hosting for me, or actually taking over the hosting role week one. I hope he gave out great advice, because I'll be honest, I didn't watch. Did you give out great advice? Did you tell people to start DJ Dallas? Because somebody did against me.
I did not tell anybody to start DJ Dallas. But I did know DJ Dallas was their main kick returner, punt returner, whatever. But most leagues aren't. I feel like most leagues aren't punt, kick, return, yard leagues yet. So you shouldn't have started DJ Dallas unless you're one of those leagues.
Dirtbag Dave started him, and he had nobody else, literally. And I think Jacob's in the league too. I think it was in game day, producer Jacob's in the back. Nice seeing you over there, buddy. I know you can't say on the show, but hey, what's up? What's going on?
I wonder if leagues like my fantasy league and Sleeper eventually will add a kick returner or a returner position, and only that person gets their return yards added to fantasy. That would be interesting.
Understand why kick. So I've been running a league since middle school, high school area, right? I've always had kick return yards as a stat, but I use them as I did them the same as quarterback yards. So the same system on how quarterbacks get yards for passing yards. That's what I did. Always since the beginning of fantasy, their yards, they've always mattered. I don't know why now, because Scott Fishbowl, which thank you for the invite always, but I don't know why all of a sudden 2024 we're talking about this. It should have always been a thing. Always.
It's because the kick return rule changes, which is supposed to support more kick returns, which it kind of, the jury's still out. Just for reference, we added it to Super League and in our rookie league way before Scott Fishbowl announced their scoring settings.
I've had it since the beginning I've ever played fantasy football.
Did
literally.
Yeah, see,
and I don't understand, and I can go on a whole tangent on why your punt returner will get a fumble, a charge to him, but your defense and special teams won't get a fumble charged to them. But your defense special teams will get the touchdown. The player will also get the touchdown. Yeah. Like nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. So your defense special teams, if you still play defense special teams, will get the touchdown to 6 points, but they won't get the yardage. They won't get the fumble they lost. Make it make sense. Somebody. Either way, we're here to talk about some news. We have some crazy bad news actually week one. Do we have a graphic for that? Do we have a little
what?
Are we just doing the
this?
For future shows, are we just doing that? Are we just doing that between the waivers? Are we doing it for all the transactions?
Yeah, okay. We talked about this pre-show. This is what we were bringing up. We literally talked about this not 5 minutes ago.
I'm still in Vegas time, baby. I'm still in Vegas time. Can we talk about that for a second? Can we talk about Vegas? Just for 1 second. What
happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, Josh.
I know, but this is fantasy football related, and I think it's necessary. Okay. First off, F you West Coasters. You have it way easier out there. 8:30 at night, games were over, and we're still partying. I wasn't ready for bed. It was awesome. Like, it was great. So all you West Coasters out there, great stuff. It's to get football over with at 8:30 and still have your entire night is great. But setting your lineups is hard, because it was like 9 o'clock. I'm like 5 donuts deep. And I'm like, wait, game start like an hour? I had no time to get to the sports book, find a seat. It was maniac. So I had a lot of, I even got yelled at by Jake from Twitter last night. He's a Twitter guy, and I'm in a league with him, and he yelled at me for not setting up a lineup. I'm like, bro, I was in Vegas. I don't know what to do. And he goes, roster violation, bro. Get your roster set up. And he got really mad at me. So all you West Coasters out there that do set your lineups correctly, hats off to you, because that's very difficult. Now onto the news. Jordan Love, MCL sprain, no timetable. Malik Willis is going to start in his absence. Malik Willis, it's going to be ugly out there for your Drayden Reeds, your Romeo Dobbs, your Wicks out there who didn't score a touchdown. And I bet that a lot. I bet a lot on him to score a touchdown. But are you concerned with Jordan Love? Or you think he's going to come back in about 2 to 3 weeks? Or you think it's going to be a long-term thing, Jason?
I think he'll be back sooner than later. Yeah, I think he'll be back sooner. His knee literally popping out of place was a little bit concerning. But I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to speculate that he's going to be back next week or the week after or 5 weeks from now. All I do know is Malik Willis has seen the Colts a lot, and that's who they play this week. And I'm excited to be a Colts fan this weekend. So.
Yeah, you are. It's gonna be battle of the inaccurate quarterbacks. Who's gonna throw the most? Who's gonna throw the most deep balls that luckily get caught? Who's gonna do it?
Luckily, did you not see that 63-yard bomb?
I saw.
That was right in the breadbasket. That's
I'm
not
impressed.
luck.
I'm impressed with him, and I drafted him in a lot of places. I'm just saying, 9 for 19. I wouldn't want that to be my quarterback.
Oh, so
I'm just saying.
So we're just looking at the box score. Let's not talk about how he was top 5 in EPA this weekend. But
I don't even know what EPA
we'll
is.
just focus on the box
I don't even know
score.
what EPA is. So suck it. But Malik Willis, hopefully he can get some EPA for Drayden Reed, who is a wide receiver 1 on the year right now.
Yeah, you definitely don't know what that means. But okay, go ahead. Keep talking.
What is EPA?
Willis,
Professionals.
You don't even have him ranked this week, so this is like a non-factor this week.
I don't have him ranked because I don't have
a
scenario.
Green Bay quarterback this week. Don't start any of that team this week.
Start Josh Jacobs. Honestly, start Josh Jacobs.
Maybe.
So we were at Stadium Swim during this game, the Packers game, and when Malik Willis, and there was a bunch of Packers fans and there was a bunch of Eagles fans. So it was craziness. And when Jordan Love went out there with 3 seconds left or whatever it was, and it got hurt, it deflated not only the Packers fans, but the Eagles fans as well, because we knew this was bad for football. This guy was young, or is young. He just got paid, and we thought it was super serious at the time. I thought he was out for the season. So thankful that it was only a couple weeks. So that's great news for the NFL. Jake Ferguson, MCL sprain, no timetable. He was very involved in that offense. Looks like Luke Schoonmaker is the backup. So I would expect him to get some play while Jake Ferguson's out. Again, very, very unfortunate for the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott. What are your thoughts on this injury?
It does suck. I actually just got Ferguson in a league over the offseason, and glad I got another player to go with that. I think I got Evan Ingram. Shocker there. But yeah, this does suck. Dak just got his payday. CD got his payday. That offense didn't look like great. Like Dak didn't do well. CD didn't do well. Brandon Cooks got a touchdown. Like was the best wide receiver fantasy wise on that team. Zeke Elliott scored a touchdown this weekend. Like this is a weird offense. So I don't know how to feel about Jake Ferguson being hurt yet. But he's no timetable. We'll see what happens with him.
Yeah. It is what it is at this point. Players are going to drop, especially this other tight end. It sucks. David Njoku, ankle injury. He's week to week. Cleveland's bringing in tight ends to work out some players. Not sure who they're posting. It looks like Irv Smith, Tommy Sweeney, and Geoff Swaim.
Jeff Swaim.
Yeah, that's how you spell Jeff, people.
And they also have Jordan Akins as their backup currently. So don't go rushing out to get Jordan Akins this week. That's all I'm saying. If they're bringing in tight ends already, like that's not a viable option to just pick up immediately.
Yeah, and don't even touch this Cleveland Browns offense. I'm sitting there at the plaza, and I'm just watching Deshaun Watson play. And I'm like, Dave brought it up. He goes, remember when Deshaun Watson was good? Like, good at football? Like, that seemed decades ago. Just decades ago. He lost it. He's lost it. And I don't want any part of any piece of this offense. Zero piece of this offense.
Nope.
Hey, what's going on in the chat? Freshie and Cap for Life. Thanks for coming up here. We're going to talk about waivers in a second, Cap, and everyone else watching. So make sure you hit that like button and make sure you stay tuned. Every single Tuesday at noon, we will be here to break down the waivers and the injury news. Moving on to Romeo Odunze, sprained MCL, considered week to week. Finished as wide receiver 88, 2.1 points. He only caught one ball, 4 targets, played 43 of the 56 snaps. This offense also looked horrendous. This was probably one of the worst games I've seen of football on both sides from Will Levis and Caleb Williams. Both just awful. But more on Roma Dunze. Seems like that whole offense is banged up. Wasn't DJ Moore in the medical tent? Keenan Allen with the heel. Now we have Odunze. Like that whole offense just fell apart in 1 week. 1 week.
It's interesting because we all thought this was like a lot of people said this is going to be an electric offense. This is going to go so well for them, and then they just could not score a touchdown. When your opposing head coach is saying, if we just punted the ball on first down every drive, we would have won the game. That's concerning. Yeah, a lot of MCLs this week. It's weird week one.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can say. Let's move on.
It was a depressing week one.
The big one here. Let's talk about the big one.
Yeah, that's why this is the most depressing thing of all time. Puka Nacua sprained PCL, placed on IR, will miss the next 4 games. He looked very involved early on. He looked like he was ahead of Cup in the targets. I may be wrong because at that point I was at the roulette table and I was already gone. Like I was already depressed. I already wanted to quit fantasy football. But then I saw Puka Nacua shine. And I'm like, holy crap, this guy looks awesome. He's worth the hype. He's coming back for a back-to-back season of being awesome. And then this happens. He was like a second, third round pick. I think we were telling people not to draft him so high just in case, but this wasn't the case. This was a freak injury. This was an injury. It wasn't his play. He was amazing. Now we have Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, even Tyler Johnson. I didn't know Tyler Johnson still played football. So it's going to be a situation where you pick one of those guys, or maybe it's just the Cooper Kupp show moving forward. How depressed are you about this Puka news?
I didn't have him ranked highly anyway. I mean, I've said that all off season. I didn't think he was a first round pick, maybe mid to late second, early third, but I thought because of his ability to play while Cooper Kupp was out and then coming back in, he is a freak athlete, not gonna lie. I just didn't value him as highly as everyone else did. I don't know why I always discount wide receivers for the Rams. I just do. But this does hurt a lot of fantasy managers. So if you have Puka out there, I'm sorry, but if only somebody would have told you not to draft him in the first place.
Yep, this just means good news for Kupp. Kupp was amazing on Sunday night. Kupp single-handedly saved Dirtbag Dave in our Guillotine League. He was about to be knocked out, and then Kupp scored. I caught like 10,000 balls, like Kupp does. Cooper Kupp just doing Cooper Kupp things. So I think it's going to be a major influx of just Cooper Kupp nonstop, 25 targets a game, and wait for Puka to come back. And I think Puka is going to be heavily, heavily used in this offense because we saw it in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the meat and potatoes of the episode.
I was gonna say let's get into priority waivers, but your boy Jacob over here is hot trigger. I like it. I like a hot trigger. Let's get into some of these waiver wires, but first I want to answer some of these questions. And we're gonna answer this one question, then get into it. So waiver order. He's saying Hill, Bigsby, Jeff Wilson, Dortch, McMillan. The tight end, the wide receiver for Tampa Bay, McMillan. I don't think he's
McMillan.
Yeah, I don't think you spelled that right. And honestly, I don't even know how to spell it. Alec Pierce, Dortch, Tyler Johnson. Like he's got a bunch of her. So the basically saying he has Achane. He wants to know if he handcuffs or makes a move for all these other players. And I will say this: do not handcuff Achane with Jeff Wilson. That's all I'm going to tell you. I would much likely. That's not the handcuff you want. But we're going to go through a bunch of these players right here where I think you should draft or pick up some of these players. So the first guy we're going to talk about is a must-add. These are all must-adds. Every single person on this list I'm going to talk about is must-add except for one. Sorry, Justin. I don't think it moved on my end. Did it update on your end, the Google sheet? Because mine didn't.
I mean, I'm looking at the Google sheet with the – you're looking at the wrong thing, I think, but it's fine.
That's fine. We'll get there when we get there. Baker Mayfield, 32% rostered right now. He scored 29.7 points. He was quarterback 2 on the week. The guy has just proven us wrong ever since I made that video way back last year. So Baker Mayfield, this is it, I think.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
He did feel dangerous. He balled out. He threw 2 touchdown passes to Mike Evans, threw one to that rookie McMillan, and also threw one to Chris Godwin. I don't know what to say other than he was phenomenal. And in any kind of super flex league, if you don't have him, you need to go pick him up. And if you're out here with Jordan Love, I would much rather have Baker Mayfield on my team rather than the other quarterback we're going to talk about, which we could lump in Derek Carr right now, who's 7% rostered, 21.3 points, quarterback 6 on the week. So if you're talking these guys head to head, Justin, who would you rather have on your team, Baker Mayfield or Derek Carr, if you have Jordan Love?
I'd rather have Baker Mayfield. He's got better targets. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they balled out this weekend. Derek Carr did great, but we see Derek Carr do these great things before, and then he just falls off. Baker Mayfield was top 10 technically last year, even with all of the injuries. We expect this from Baker at this point. He's in a great offense at this point. They've got players all around the board. Yes, Derek Carr's got Olave and Alvin Kamara
and Foster Moreau.
And he has to fight for throws with Taysom Hill. So if I have to pick one or the other, I'm going Baker Mayfield this week. But if I can't get Baker, I'm going Derek Carr.
Well, are you okay with I think the Buccaneers play the 49ers? I think they play the 49ers. No, they play the Lions. I lied. Sorry. They play the Lions. So we got Baker versus the Lions. I'm not sure who Derek Carr goes up against week 2. I haven't looked at my matchups just yet. But man, I feel comfortable after watching Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp do what they did. I feel real comfortable, especially with Chris Godwin this week. He might be a start of the week going against Detroit because, I mean, we've seen Cooper Kupp and Puka, even Puka before he got hurt, tore up this offense. So
Derek Carr goes against Dallas on Sunday, and then Baker Mayfield plays. Oh, I just found it, and then I lost it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Samir,
I'll have it once I find it.
Samir in the chat has a question, and I don't want to. Detroit.
Both on the road, so that's tough.
If we can get Samir's question up there, I do want to break this down real quick. So I need to ask Alan Lazard or Brandon Cooks on waiver priority pick. I have another pick to replace Trevor Lawrence with Baker Mayfield. Listen, I don't know what to think about Alan Lazard right now. I don't want to think about Alan Lazard. It's a freaking nightmare to see what happened last night. But, again, it was just one game. Aaron Rodgers is comfortable. And then you have Brandon Cooks, who's a splash player who won't be consistent. I would take Alan Lazard in a situation because of familiarity. And when it comes down to it, Rodgers will look that way, where I think Dak is going to look at CeeDee Lamb more times than he will look at Brandon Cooks. Whereas Alan Lazard, sad to say, he might get even splits with Garrett Wilson. That's sad. That's really sad to say. But Alan Lazard is who I'd take.
Yeah, you're really looking at just who else is on that offense. Alan Lazard has to go. Other than Garrett Wilson, has Mike Williamson, Malachi Corley, technically above him on the depth chart. Brandon Cooks is the wide receiver 2 for that team. So Brandon Cooks should get targets over there. But you can't blame familiarity. Aaron Rodgers is going to throw the ball to who he wanted to be brought into New York. He made it through the offseason. He didn't get cut like I was about to say Donald Driver, but not Donald Driver. The other guy that they brought.
The other guy, who was the other bum? The other freaking bum. Either way, I'm taking Alan Lazard in the situation. Both are gross. Not gonna lie, both are gross. And then pick Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, Baker Mayfield for Trevor Lawrence all day. And no, Josh Wingate. I'm not in Sleepy Hollow. I am in depression zone. This is disgusting. Week 1 was awful. And I'm sad. That's where I'm at right now. All right. Isaiah Likely is our number 3 must add of the week. 26.1, tight end 1. You know, on the trip, literally on the plane to Las Vegas, me and Dave were talking about Isaiah Likely and how, man, all these experts are on him and he's going to be this. Until, Mark Andrews goes down, this guy's kind of useless. Well, that lasted for about 24 hours because he's very useful and he's probably the number 1 target and he could do a lot more things than Mark Andrews and he's more athletic than Mark Andrews and he's just a better player than Mark Andrews and he's only 18% rostered. So he's going to be the number 1 waiver pickup. And all leagues. In all of leagues, he's going to be your number one. He's going to go for the most fab, and I would spend it. If you don't roster him already, I would spend it because he's a rare player. And I said it like this on Thursday night. They're using him like Atlanta should use Kyle Pitts. And I think they are going to continue to use him like Atlanta should use Kyle Pitts. So Isaiah Likely, to me, slam dunk. He's your Puka Nacua this year. He's your league winner. I don't think you'll ever bench him again. All your fab.
If only there was somebody during the offseason that said that the Ravens have Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews, not Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. It's almost like somebody said maybe the Ravens should just run 2 tight end sets for the entire season and have Zay Flowers out there. If only somebody could have told you to draft him.
Exactly. And I will say this about Zay. I'm glad you brought that up about Zay Flowers.
That was me, by the way.
Because Zay Flowers, yeah, we know. Because Zay Flowers was getting a lot of targets early on. But the bottom line is, if you're okay with 6 catches for 42 yards every single week, cool, bro. He has no upside as far as I'm concerned.
10 points right there, man.
Yeah, 10 points. So cool. If you want a good 10-point floor, that's what Zay Flowers is. But Isaiah Likely is that powerhouse, is that guy who's just going to be athletic. And I know it's week 1 and we're all over. Listen, if I'm crying about Olave and Kincaid, I can't go overreact for Isaiah Likely. So I have to keep things in perspective. But I do think after week 1, he's going to be the highest scoring position player besides Lamar Jackson, of course, in Baltimore. And I think they're going to use him a ton. He's not going to score 26 points every week, but I think his floor is about 14, 10, somewhere in that range with a major upside.
I did have a Ravens fan get mad at me this morning because I did post my top 5 rankings this morning at each position. And we Jacob Vogel, right? Like,
yeah, we know.
He said the Isaiah Likely slander will not be tolerated. Well, I have him this week ranked at number 10 because Mark Andrews is still there. But that could change next week depending on how they use Likely.
So let me ask you a question. Since this is Samir in the chat has another question about Ingram. Would you start Likely or Ingram moving forward? Okay, moving forward.
The Jaguars have to figure it out. I think they had a weird week against the Dolphins. I don't think the Jaguars had a chance to even do anything against the Dolphins this week after everything that happened pregame. I still do like Ingram. I think Ingram is still probably Trevor Lawrence's top target, even with Brian Thomas becoming the best rookie in the draft so far. I still like Ingram right now, but you got to have Likely as well. Like that. Likely could end up being a top 5 tight end this year.
Brock Bowers or Likely?
Likely. Better offense, better opportunities.
Last one. Let's go with Likely or man, because all these guys suck. I'm just looking at the top 10 list. They all suck. Likely or Dallas Goedert?
Likely
as well. I agree. I agree with all those, honestly, just for the upside alone. Guys, I see your questions in the chat, but we got to get the show moving. We will sprinkle in your questions in a little bit, maybe after we get to the worth a look section. But Ty Johnson is a must add. He's 1% roster, 12.9 points, wide receiver 26 on the year. Puka's on IR. We saw last year with this Rams offense when Cooper Kupp went down, they were utilizing Tutu Atwell a ton. They were utilizing Demarcus Robinson a ton. So it's not just a one-show pony over there. If you need a guy, if you need a player for the next 3 weeks, if you lost Puka especially, this is that rare step in where I believe maybe he has a shot, but we don't really know. So don't spend a ton of fab. Just throw a couple bucks out on Ty Johnson because he's definitely a must-add because, honestly, Kupp can't do the entire thing. Tyler Higbee's not there anymore. And Ty Johnson looked to be the most comfortable wide receiver in that offense. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
You agree? Head shake says yes, guys. Head shake says yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to move on to the next guy then because this is the most popular. Running back, Jordan Mason, 49ers. I literally landed in Tampa last night at 7 o'clock or whatever time it was, and CMC is inactive. I have CMC everywhere. Jordan Mason was not available, but apparently I don't have his roster percentage here, Justin, but that's okay.
38% shows you right on the sheet there. He's 38% amongst fantasy apps. He's only 2% rostered in sleeper leagues, but I think if we looked at it today before waivers clear tomorrow, it's probably already in 70% range.
Yeah, he's just a must add because he's the backup to CMC. He is the for sure backup to CMC. He scored 22.2 points, running back 5. He's a must add because if you roster CMC, you must add Jordan Mason. You have to. I did a draft Thursday morning. I drafted CMC 1. I drafted Jordan Mason very last, literally the very last pick. And I wouldn't have done that if I didn't know about the already injuries, the Achilles and the hamstring or whatever it is, the calf. I wouldn't have drafted Mason. I'm glad I did in that league specifically. Hey, it's not on the sheet. It's F and lie. It's an F and lie. It's not on the sheet. It's
look right underneath you on the
I'm not looking at us. I'm not looking at us. I don't look at us.
Josh,
I don't look at
38%. It's right there on the sheet.
Oh, now it is. Now it's on the sheet. Don't be lying to these people out here. All right, let's go to the worth a look waiver ads. Let's answer some of these questions real quick. Let's answer. What do you think of Ingram's projection? We already did that one. Let's go with only 2. Likely Dobbins, Demarcus Robinson, or a Dunze in full PPR.
Likely Dobbins.
Dobbins and likely. That's who I'm going with. Dobbins and likely. Dobbins looked like he's healthy for now. And like
RB1 for now?
For now. We'll talk about the other bum later about who you should drop. And Freshie says Bowers, he would take Bowers over likely. And I kind of don't hate that. I can,
by the way, if you didn't know.
I know who it is.
Okay.
But his name is Freshie here.
Okay.
Worth a look. Geno Smith, 23% roster. This is more of super flex leagues. He scored 18.8, quarterback 7. DK Metcalf was not involved as much as I wanted to. My parlay would have hit, but it did not. 18.8 points for Geno Smith. We see this going forward. Do you like this new offense by the Seahawks, by the way?
I didn't even watch this game, to be honest with you. I don't even know anything about it. I was playing soccer at this time.
Wow. To be honest with you, we played roulette during the 4 o'clock game sucked.
171 yards. That's the thing. Like, we're so used to, like 5 years ago, quarterbacks throwing 400 plus yards, and we're going, oh my God, look at all these people that are throwing 350, 400, 450, 500 yards in a game, and now we're fighting for 200. 200.
Hey, Caleb's trying to find 100. Caleb Williams is literally trying to find 100.
We're still having starting quarterbacks in this league today throwing for less than 100 yards in a passing league. When you have 3 wide receiver ones on your team.
Is there a worse debut ever by a rookie quarterback in a winning performance than Caleb Williams?
Hey, he's the first one since David Carr to win.
Hey, and I'm a Caleb Williams guy. I'm a Caleb Williams fan, so it was hard for me to watch. Anyway, back to Geno Smith. I do like Geno Smith, especially in Superflex leagues. I know that this isn't reflective of Superflex. He is only 23% rostered in single quarterback leagues. I'm not picking him up to start any weeks because look at the quarterback situation. We only had Jordan Love get hurt. That's relevant in 12-team leagues. So I'm not picking him up. I don't want to carry a backup quarterback, but he's definitely worth a look in case you do have Jordan Love and you strike out on Baker Mayfield. So honestly, I'd rather have Geno Smith over Derek Carr, by the way. Just want to put that out there. But that's just subjective. Or is it objective?
It's subjective.
It's subjective.
Objective?
Right. It's something. But
talk about fantasy, not English.
Yes. So the other worth a look, Foster Moreau, 0% rostered, as he should be. Running back Alexander.
Really funny. I actually picked up Foster Moreau in like 4 leagues on Sunday at like 12:50 because I had one spot open because I moved people down to my IR and I was like, Foster, whatever. I'll pick up Moreau. And now I'm like, yeah, see, I knew. That was a luck.
You knew.
All luck right there.
Another bum. Alexander Madison, 8% rostered, 12.2 points. Had that one amazing touchdown catch. Zamir White fumbled. He didn't look as explosive as I thought he would be. It looks like it's going to be a committee over there with Alexander Madison being the old, boring, slow running back. Although that touchdown, he looked fast. That's the fastest I've ever seen Alexander Madison run in my entire life. So if you need a running back, he's only rostered 8%. I get it. It's ugly out there, but he's definitely worth a look. You never know going forward.
He's not the Jerome Ford of the waivers this year, but he's better than Zamir, it looks like.
Here's a guy who definitely should be in my opinion, but I didn't want to argue with it too much. Justice Hill should be in a must pickup slot to me. 4% rostered. He played more than Derrick Henry. He was on the field more than Derrick Henry. Again, they were trailing, and Derrick Henry's not going to be on the field when they're trailing because they need a pass catching running back. I didn't expect Justice Hill to be this involved, and it wasn't even that involved, but he had a lot of catches. He was involved in their pass protection. He looked good. He looked fine. I would definitely throw some fab out there because he is going to be someone that they will be utilizing if they are down early.
You know what's really weird, though? He had one rush, one attempt for 3 yards because when Derrick Henry's not out there, Lamar's going to run the ball.
Yep.
So yeah, he 6 for 8 in the passing game, 52 yards and a touchdown. So that's where all of his points are coming from. He is the pass catching back there. So you got to look at who they're playing against when you consider starting Justice Hill. Are they playing a team that they're going to smoke and they're going to be able to run the ball more, or are they playing somebody that they're going to have to play from behind? And there's not a lot of teams that the Ravens are going to be playing from behind against.
Hey,
so it might not be that much.
But you can't say that and then say, well, go A-Chain, who the one running back 3 on the week, only had 23 rushing yards.
No.
He only had 23 rushing yards, though. That's it. So we can't, pick and choose who we crown and who we don't. As long as Justice Hill's on the field catching balls, he's going to be somewhat relevant as a running back 3, running back, low end running back 2. He's worth a look. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, and that's where we have him. It's worth a look right now.
Yes, Alexander Madison is a good pickup. Samir, we just talked about, or Samir, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but yes, he's definitely a good one. We just talked about him because we don't know the fate of Mr. Zamir White. If he keeps on fumbling the ball, putting the ball on the ground, he will be easily replaced. Easily.
And they have that rookie Dylan Lobb as well. So that's another backfield I don't want any part of anymore.
Jameson Williams, I'll go fast in this one because he's 72% rostered. If you didn't believe in him, go pick him up. 24.4 points, very heavy, very involved. Sun God was not, though. So we have to take that into account. Sun God, Amon-Ra, St. Brown was not involved as much as we wanted to. Jameson Williams took over. It looks like they want to get him involved. They spent a first-round pick on this guy. They need to. So worth a look. That was 18% of you guys who don't roster him. Go pick him up. Rashid Shaheed.
28%.
I can't do math, bro. Come on. Get out of here.
Rashid Shaheed.
50% rostered. 16.3 points. I hate you. Should have went to Olave. Listen to all these. Look at all these assholes. Jameson Williams took from Sun God. Rashid took from Olave. What is happening? Week 1 sucked.
Alec Pierce took from Michael Pittman.
Well, he had no upside to begin with. But Jesus Christ, all these backup receivers, they took all of our studs away. So be very wary of that. I'm just saying, Olave is not going to score 3 points a week, and neither is Sun God. So be wary when you do go get your Jameson Williams and your Rashid Shaheeds, because they're not the superstars on the team. Just be wary. All right, worth the stash. Can we get the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun? All right, these are the players that are maybe worth a stash. You're not going to start them right away, but they are good bench spots for your team. Sam Darnold, 7% rostered, 15.6 fantasy points, quarterback 13 on the year. He got the ball to Justin Jefferson. That's all we want from Sam Darnold. JJ wasn't electric. He wasn't Mr. 150 yards, but he scored a touchdown, and he was still being very well. Addison was even involved before he got hurt. We didn't even talk about Addison's injury. That's huge. Why would we forget about that? Addison got hurt, guys. It sucks. It cost us a lot of money at the sports book. But it did. It ruined a lot of parlays. Over under was so low. Sam Darnold, though, was awesome. He was like 12 for 12 at one point. Ridiculous. But they were all short passes, guys, and they were all safe passes. They schemed him to look great. And it's hard to look so bad with these amazing weapons around him. I'm okay stashing Sam Darnold in the Superflex League if he's available. Yes. Justin's like, yes, I agree. Jacob in the background's like, yes, I agree.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I may have just put a waiver claim in and have him to be dropped. Call me crazy, but when
No,
people zig, I zag.
Yeah. Jamal Williams,
But I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. Jamal Williams, 5% roster, 12.1 points, running back 25. But Kamara was a beast as well, running back 5. I think that he's worth a stash. Jamal Williams is definitely worth a stash, but don't spend a lot of fab on him and don't use your number one priority pick on him because, again, they played the Carolina Panthers, people. We have to understand that. They played the Carolina Panthers. So, be that as it may.
Yeah.
Alec Pierce.
Next guy.
Don't pick him up. I'm just you can talk about it. I do not think you should pick this bum up.
Even producer Jacob spelled Alec Pierce wrong. ALEC, not X. I haven't. He finished wide receiver in 9. He's not somebody that I'm rushing out to go get him. In fact, I haven't put a waiver claim in for him at all. But the kid had a lot of points.
Yeah.
He had a lot of points.
Listen, guys, don't pick up Alex Pierce.
Yeah, don't pick up Alex Pierce. Alec Pierce, okay, maybe. The note here, 3 receptions, 125 yards. His first one was 65 yards. His second one was like 55 yards. So his third one was like 10, 15 yards there. But if you're throwing at least a deep ball to him once a game, twice a game,
hey,
that doesn't look bad.
If he can catch 3 out of the 9 completions on that offense, I'm here for it. If he can catch like 50% or 40% of the completed passes, I'm here for it. I really am.
He'll be a top 12 wide receiver.
Yeah, I definitely will.
But no, he is a big play. That's it. Alec Pierce is only going to be a big play. He's not a slant guy. He's not a drag route. He's not a short guy. He is go down the field, catch a 50-50 ball against a safety in a corner, and that's where his points are going to come from.
It just scares me with the inefficiency, as in like.
I mean, yeah, in the past he has had inefficiencies. All camp though, reports have said Alec Pierce has looked good during the offseason. He has improved his game. So this is the final year for me. If he doesn't do anything this year, then you can count him out. But I think he is worth a stash in deeper leagues. If you have 5 or 6 bench spots, do not pick him up. If you have 10 plus, 15 plus, go stash him.
Yeah, but he's worth a stash if you have deep rosters, but if short benches, do not. Brandon Cooks, on the other hand, is someone you can stash on a short roster because we've seen him be great in the past. 31% rostered, 14.5 fantasy points, ended wide receiver 19, finished above CD just because he scored the touchdown. I like him. He's fine. He's just so blah, but he's going to be blah. He's there for your bye weeks or for injuries. He's someone that's you can just step in, plug him in your lineup. His floor is like 8 points, but his ceiling could be 20. So he's definitely worth a stash if you're hurting bad, worth a stash.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Up next, we're going to keep stashing. Why is there only one player on this? There should be like 10,000 after this terrible week 1. I'll before you throw the graphic, well, you already threw him up. Marvin Harrison. Don't give up on him.
Yeah,
he's fine.
Give up on him.
He's fine.
I thought that was going to be an obvious one.
It was, but there's people. The sky is falling. He's fine. He's fine.
He's fine.
He's fine. Chill, people. Why? Man. All right, we'll get to him next week. It's fine because I want to see it again. But just mention the name Brian Thomas. All right, Caleb Williams, keep stashing. 87%. He scored 7.2. Quarterback 29. It was his rookie debut. He didn't throw for 100 yards, which is alarming. But if you watch that game, he didn't have time to throw the ball. You can go get a beat up Mustang, put it on a freaking perfect paint job, get the most expensive tires you want, get the best interior design you want. But if it doesn't have an engine, or if your offense doesn't have an offensive line, it's going to be hard to go down the field. It's going to be hard to drive down the road. without an engine or an offensive line. The guy had no time. And I understand we're going to trash Caleb Williams. I understand we're going to say he's this and he's that and he's trash. I'm not going to say it wasn't his fault because there were so many times where he couldn't read a play, or he just held the ball for too long, or he panicked and didn't make the right call. But when every play he's getting rushed and he has no time to throw and he's running around, he can't do anything. How can he find Keenan Allen? How can he find these players when there's players in his face at all times? I think they're going to work it out. They have to work it out. They have to. So Caleb Williams keeps stashing. You drafted him high for a reason. He has all these players around him. He's going to be successful. It was his rookie debut. And I know you disagree.
He had 3 wide receivers that were hurt throughout the game, so
Yep.
I'm not going to discount him for that. He had to go up against Jeffrey Simmons, which is tough already. That Titans front 7 is pretty loaded. They brought in a lot of corners, a lot of secondary players to really control that. The fact that Will Levis threw an interception to lose the game is the reason why Caleb Williams is the only quarterback since David Carr to be picked first overall and win his first game in week 1. So I'm not concerned. We saw Andrew Luck lose week 1 of the NFL season and still make it to the playoffs that year and ball out his rookie season. If he finishes down that low again next week, let's check back the next week. He'll be on the next list. But I wouldn't drop him yet. I'd stash him. I still think I still to this day think the other quarterback that the Bears passed on was the better quarterback, and I will still stand by that probably by the end of the season based off of week 1 stats. QB3 this week, by the way. But yeah, keep Caleb Williams for now.
Hey, 1 quarterback won, 1 lost. Check back next week. So this is kind of like a stash in a way, but let's check back next week because I don't think we're dropping Caleb Williams, even if he has a bad game. But these players, you might drop them. Kirk Cousins, 64% rostered, 7.2 points. He looked, I don't know how to say it. He looked off. He looked like he didn't know where players were going to be at some points. He didn't have a connection with Drake London. He did connect with Kyle Pitts, which he moved. Kyle Pitts skyrocketed up my rankings. I just seen that one game. And that one game showed me that Kyle Pitts is going to be probably his favorite target all season. But we need to see him connect with more. And I feel like he was scared. I feel like he was timid. I feel like Kirk Cousins felt, like I said, lost. But I would keep him on my roster because he is a very, very good quarterback. He throws for a ton of yards. I know the haters are coming out saying he's this, he's that, he's washed, yada, yada, yada. Keep him around, guys, because he does have too many weapons to fail. And I think that was a fluke. And they also cost me a lot of money. So F you, Falcons. F you, Falcons. That's all.
I'm only concerned about that Achilles, but I think that's why he's rostered 64% of leagues. People aren't drafting him to be the QB1 right now. They're probably drafting him to be a backup right now anyway. So if you have him, if you still have him, keep him and just keep checking back to see if that offense figures it out. I mean, Kyle Pitts did score a touchdown, so that's good, right? Like he did throw to his tight end.
Early, too. Early on. He scored early on.
Yeah.
Your boy had Kyle Pitts plus 1,000 to score 2. So thanks again, guys. Zamir White, 99%.
You problem, not a.
It was not a me problem. He was on pace to score 2. He scored early. Zamir White, 99% rostered. He had a fumble. He scored 2.6 points. Running back 46. That whole offense looked awful. Minshew didn't look good. Devontae Adams looked slow. Jacoby Myers was just there. Brock Bowers is the only impressive part to me on that offense as a whole. But speaking of Zamir White specifically, running backs come and go in this world, as we all know. And if you put the ball on the ground, you're off the field, it seems like, in these days. So if he can't keep the ball in his hands, then I say he's going to be sitting on that bench pretty quick. So check back. Keep monitoring it. He's not droppable yet, but he definitely could be next week.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the New England Patriots with Bill Belichick happen. This happened all the time. As soon as his star running back dropped it, and he's out. Like,
dime a dozen.
On the next one. Running backs are replaceable.
Dime a dozen. Javonte Williams, another running back, 2.3 points. running back 47. I didn't see much of this game, although I did see the box score, it was on. But this was one of the most boring games of all time. Bo Nix, can you think of a more boring quarterback than Bo Nix? Seriously, I was falling asleep watching this game. But Javonte Williams, apparently he fell asleep during this game as well. Only 2.3 points, awful performance, but keep him up. He's their bell cow. He's their guy. Only 8 carries, though. He needs more. He needs like 15 carries to be effective. That's the problem. Is he ever going to get 15 carries in this offense? No, he's a sell.
I mean, who had the carries? That's the real question, is who had those carries that he clearly did not get.
Not him.
Exactly, not him. And that's the problem, is that everybody drafted him to be the RB1. Too many people continue to say that, like, oh, he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Draft Javonte Williams. No, it's not him. Jaleel McLaughlin outcarried him with 10 carries, 27 yards. Bo Nix had 5 carries for 35 yards and a touchdown. Like, Bo Nix is clearly RB1 on this team.
People hate me. People hate on Bo Nix, and so do I. I just did. He's just so boring. To me, he's just so boring.
Me had 2 carries for 14 yards. He had over half the amount of yards Javonte had with only a quarter of the carries.
Amari Cooper, 96% rostered, 1.6 points. Wide receiver, 76. You can't drop him. Watson's just bad. You just need to hope Watson gets benched. We need Jameis. Can we get a free Jameis hashtag on Twitter, X? Can we get a free Jameis hashtag? Instead of these stupid political commercials, can we get hi, I'm Josh from OUS, and I approve this message, and show like Jameis highlights. Get him in Cleveland. Look, they're both sex offenders, allegedly, right? No harm, no foul for both of them, allegedly, right? As in, like, that they did bad things, but let's put the guy in that can throw the ball. Put them both in. Hell, run a 2-quarterback offense. Let's see how it works. College does it. It's awful, man. Deshaun Watson. What a I'm not going to cuss because sorry, Bobby. What a fucking piece of shit Watson is.
I'm not going to cuss, but
horrible. Oh,
God.
Watson is not droppable after Jordan Love. Christian Watson, keep him in your lineup. Keep stashing him. He was targeted early. When Love gets back, he'll be targeted again early. Must drops. I feel like the last time I was on air, I told you guys to just stop drafting Gus Edwards because he's one of the worst running backs for fantasy. He's not going to do much on the ground, through the air. He'll be lucky to score a touchdown. But J.K. Dobbins really took over that wide receiver or running back 1 role, to everyone's surprise. Literally everybody. Literally. So I'm assuming Gus Edwards scored 2.8 points. I'm assuming he had 28 rushing yards. Am I right? Because I guarantee he didn't catch a ball. Ain't no way. He must have
Edwards. He had 26 rushing yards. He caught 1 ball for 1 yard.
Dang, how do you only score 28 points? Are these half PPR?
This is full PPR.
So 2.8. So if he had 20, so you have 26, 2.6. Yeah, well, what's up with his points? Did he fumble? Did we not know about a fumble?
I just don't think we produced the show correctly today.
That's okay. I'm okay with that. But Gus Edwards was asked.
3.8 points.
3.8.
Fantasy Pros.
3.8. Okay, still ungood. So the evidence still shows if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's awful, and that's why you should drop Gus Edwards. He's not worth. There's no upside there. There's literally no upside.
No.
All floor. And then the other guy, DeAndre Hopkins, 0.8 points. Wide receiver 92. It's basically to me, in my opinion, it's a quarterback problem because Will Levis is probably the second worst quarterback in the league. And it's just not fun for any of those guys. What did Calvin Ridley do?
Calvin Ridley, oh my God, no, stop it.
Well, while he looks that up, I'll let you guys know if you guys still running defenses, just pick the defense because we don't do defenses and kickers.
8 points. 8 points. 7 targets, 3 receptions, 50 yards.
Just closing thoughts on this. Just pick up any special teams defense that plays the Titans or the Bears. That's it. Every week. Because Will Levis and Caleb Williams, that was the most disgusting quarterback performance I've ever seen. And we saw Josh Dobbs last year. We saw Mullins last year for the Vikings. Yeah, we saw some bad quarterbacks last year. But I've never seen someone so bad as Will Levis or Caleb Williams in the same game.
I mean, if we want to talk about accuracy, he went 19 for 32. He threw the same amount of completions as Anthony Richardson had pass attempts. So if you want to go that route, then he did great. It just his 19 completions went for 127 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He did score a touchdown or 2 touchdowns. Just one of them was for the other team. So
congratulations, Will
Tony
Levis.
Pollard looked good though on that offense. 16 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown.
You know, can we do that real quick? Like surprising, because I know this is not, this is start sits, but like closing thoughts for real. I think overall, what you saw week 1 is not what you're going to see the entire season. There's no way Dalton Kincaid and Olave and name a star, just name a superstar, are going to get shut out Drake London. They're not going to get shut out every week. So I want to take this opportunity to tell you guys, don't panic, man. Don't go out there and drop Raheem Mostert because he didn't score a touchdown for, Alexander Madison. That's just ridiculous. This happens every single week 1. What happened last week 1, right? Kelsey was awful. T. Higgins scored 0, although he scored 0 a lot. We had a bad week 1 last week too. So it takes time for these players to adjust, get used to it, get into the groove. Week 1 is just preseason 2.0 to me. Let's see what goes on week 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's see the trends. That's what we're paying attention to, people. When we do watch football, we're not just watching for week 2. We're watching to see trends. Okay, is J.K. Dobbins going to get the opportunities again? Or where does he get the opportunities? Is he only going to get them from the 20s, in between the 20s? And no, that's what we're looking at. So going into week 2, see what you saw week 1 and see if it builds or if it falls off. And then take that into week 3 and week 4 and go and forward. So that's my only advice for all you people, especially for these waiver shows. Justin?
It's a week-to-week game, it's a full season. I mean, we're not focusing on exactly what happened now. That's why we only suggested to drop 2 players, because those 2 players we said all off season you shouldn't have drafted them. People did, and they did exactly what we thought they would do. Nothing. So
oh wait, you saw that funeral drop? I'm ready to put a funeral on somebody. I think we should put a funeral. There we go.
And now a moment of silence.
I'm using this for Gus Edwards. You can drop him. He's dead. He'll never be talked on the show again. I know, but it's the official sound, the sound bit. Okay. It's the official. It's official now. DeAndre Hopkins, he can come back. I would drop him, but he can come back. Gus Edwards, he'll never come back from this. Make sure you come back Wednesday, by the way. Don't drop us. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We'll be talking start sits. We'll be talking matchups. We'll have fun. I think Dirtbag Dave's going to be on the show. We'll probably talk a lot about our Vegas trip and how I got a tattoo. Yeah, Justin's not looking forward to that. I got a tattoo, people. My first one ever. Tomorrow. Is that tomorrow?
What?
I don't know. It will be on
I'm
Friday.
calling in sick tomorrow.
Oh, you're calling in tomorrow. Oh, man, that sucks. We'll also have a show Friday at noon as well. We'll talk more in depth about the matchups going into the week. So make sure you catch us there. Follow us, OUSFF Pod, everywhere, whether it be Twitter, X, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. We're always here for you. Hit my DMs on Twitter, Josh Kimmel OUS. I'll respond. Hit Justin's DMs, Justin Farrelly, on Twitter as well. He's got a new profile picture. It's awesome. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow night.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Follow on X and Instagram at OUSFFPOD. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.